Welcome to the HITea with Grace podcast, where we spill the tea on HITea. Today, I am here at ASCO, the world's largest oncology conference, and I'm honored to welcome to the pod Dr. Joanne Xiu, VP of Clinical and Translational Research at Caris. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Grace, for having me.
So tell me a little bit about the career path that brought you to your role today.
Absolutely. Caris Life Sciences was my first and only job ever since my graduate school. I got my training in neurobiology at California Institute of Technology. And when I was looking for a job, the concept of finding a therapeutic target for patients at the moment just fascinated me. And to be honest, that was a long time ago, and the concept was really new and really inspiring, and I was excited to be able to use my knowledge and training to be able to help patients. At that moment, it was late-stage cancer patients who were in desperate need to help and for effective treatment. So that's how it all started. And before I know it, it's almost 17 years, and I'm still here getting excited and inspired on a daily basis.
Wow, what an inspiration. So what is translational medicine? What is that?
Absolutely. It is a relatively new concept, I have to say. However, the concept has been in clinical practice in the scientist mindset for years. It is really the science to translate our biomarker, basic cancer biology knowledge into the bedside, into patient care, and be able to help each individual patient. So you can approach that from an individual patient perspective, but also find trends in science and correlations that can help patient on a population basis. So that's where my job focuses on, is to really take advantage of large genomic and clinical data to really find trends so that we can apply the individual knowledge point to help more patients.
Fascinating. So you work on helping translate lab discoveries into real-world treatments. Can you walk us through how Caris turns a patient's tumor sample into information that can actually guide treatment decisions?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think you just talked to Dr. Rebecca Feldman. So the workflow at Caris is that the treating physicians, in order for them to decide on the next step of treatment, they would send in the patient tumor sample, and we profile patients in the most comprehensive manner that is available in the technology world right now. And we rely on experts, including molecular geneticists and pathologists and experts like Dr. Feldman, to really translate that kind of information into individual patient care. And over the very many years, if you think of all the data points that we could collect on individual patients' tumor sample and multiply that by however many patients we've profiled over the years, it's an astronomical number of data points covering a wide range of patients. And my team is blessed with all these vast amount of data. They cover a lot of cancer types, patients with different treatment journeys and at different treatment stage. And so the cancer biologists, computational biologists on my team are able to really dissect that information and really draw clinically actionable insights from that information. We kind of try our best to disseminate that knowledge in the form of conference abstracts, presentations, or peer-reviewed manuscripts to really disseminate the knowledge and really get attention from subject matter experts from all fields to learn about what we've learned and mutually benefit from all these shared knowledge. So that's how we really try to summarize all these important findings and try to contribute to the scientific knowledge base that's out there.
Is that what the Caris Precision Oncology Alliance does too?
Precisely. Yeah. Caris Precision Oncology Alliance is expanding very fast. Now we have near 100 cancer institutions in the country and also internationally. And this is a consortium where the subject matter experts, including data scientists, including cancer biologists, and most importantly, clinical oncologists who are helping patients on a daily basis come together and really share their knowledge and share their questions, challenges, and come up with solutions. And to have the opportunity to work with experts like this is part of our job, is really use their expertise to draw insights from the data that we have and try to come up with publications and scientific insights that we can contribute.
Amazing. One of the big themes here at ASCO so far has been talking about finding new treatment targets. Mm-hmm. So how does Caris's large database of molecular data help researchers discover those targets, especially in rare cancers or smaller patient groups?
Absolutely. We had a very interesting presentation yesterday at our POA Summit, where we gathered very interesting and insightful group of experts to really talk about how to really advance science and research in different cancer types. And one of the challenges for a conventional pathway like prospective phase 3 randomized controlled trial are these rare cancer types or underrepresented populations. And I think we're at a very fortunate time where there's explosive knowledge about how to better utilize the real world evidence, which is what Caris has accumulated over the very many years. So this is a very vast gold mine of information capturing patients of all cancer types and, as I mentioned, different clinical stages and different treatment status, where we just really need to have a careful mindset to investigate this vast real-world evidence carefully so that we can draw true insights from the database. And the rare cancer type, as you have mentioned, is very difficult in the clinical trial world. So how can we really account for confounding factors and avoid biases, but really draw insights from this vast database? I think that is the key for us to best utilize the database and really contribute to the underrepresented disease types and treatment status of patients.
Fascinating. And I know Caris is known for having a very broad and deep molecular testing platform. So what makes that comprehensive testing different from standard tests? And why is that important when patients are trying to find treatment options or clinical trials? I don't think patients and caregivers realize you can request a Caris test. You can literally go to your doctor and say, I want to know my biomarkers, and I want a Caris test, which is more complex. So what is that comprehensive? What makes it different?
Absolutely. I love how the question is phrased, and I really appreciate your angle. I think, maybe because I've been working at Caris and being spoiled with large amount of data for very, very many years throughout my career, I think comprehensive tumor profiling is actually the standard nowadays. There is no such thing as, limited panel or just having a snapshot of one piece of the molecular information of the patient anymore. The deeper, the wider, the better. The reason being cancer is very complex and very smart. There's driver events, there is tumor progression, there's a treatment pressure, and to really understand the patient's tumor biology in as comprehensive manner as possible is actually the key for the treatment design for the patients. So at Caris, we actually not only try best to get the molecular information out of patient's tumor, we also have groups of experts trying to get the most accurate interpretation for the patient, not only understanding the driver events, but also acquired resistance, tumor microenvironment information, and in a holistic and comprehensive manner to really understand the patient's tumor for the next step of treatment design.
Seems like patients and caregivers just assume this is happening when they're doing their standard tests, and they don't realize, no, there's a way more comprehensive way to do this in addition to the important standard tests.
I couldn't agree more. I think patient education and also dissemination of this kind of data and knowledge to community doctors or just to widespread what the power of the data nowadays is actually key to a lot of progresses that can be accelerated right now.
AI is a hot topic, so especially in cancer care, right? So how is Caris using AI to make sense of the data you generate? What does that mean for the future of treatment and trial design?
One of the most exciting topics that I want to learn more about at this conference is how artificial intelligence is being used and what is our very next step. I think we've all been fascinated by all the changes that AI is making. But then when it comes to medicine and individual patients, how can we best utilize that to tailor patient treatment is extremely important, and it's not anything that we can take lightly. I think artificial intelligence is just as smart as people can make it. So I think this is prime time where we really rally these subject matter experts from data science, from clinical oncology, from cancer biologists, from molecular geneticists, all these really complex and advanced science, to rally them together to really come up with a way to best utilize artificial intelligence and to do each patient justice. I think, as I said, artificial intelligence is just as smart as how smart people can make it to be, and what data to use, how to train, and what model to apply to validate. All these very tough questions need to have a group of experts really contribute and communicate and come up with a best solution to give patients the best care that they deserve.
It does seem like that the cancer centers really need to focus on their data foundations right now.
Absolutely.
Have you heard that in the industry, that just really focusing on making sure that data is clean and it's clear and it's accessible and that it's harmonized? And
yeah, that is actually, not only have I heard it on daily basis, that is the life that the challenge that I'm dealing with on daily basis. And it is challenging for each project. It's challenging as the field as a whole. So I do think to have a very well-structured, clean data set as a foundation is of extreme importance. And actually, I think the computational methods that we have nowadays is the first step of application, could very well be to infer missing data points, to take out obvious human errors. The structuring and cleaning of the data set is probably one of the very first steps where AI can help us.
It's true. AI itself can help with that
exactly.
process.
Yeah, because we all know about in the daily practice how hectic things can be and how human errors can occur, and accumulation of those mistakes could lead to bias and lead to mistakes, and we should not be treating that trivially. So I'm hoping that we have a lot of dedicated and smart AI experts and data scientists out there to really help us build and strengthen the vast database that we have right now.
So as we're kind of thinking with ASCO on the mind, as we're thinking about different research projects that have been out there and different data that's been coming out in publications, what is a recent study or discovery that really excited you about the space? And is it because it could change practice or it opens new doors for research? Why does it excite you?
What excites me is the vast knowledge that's coming out on a weekly basis in this field. And it's been like this for the past 17 years. And that's why there's never a dull moment doing what I do. In terms of research projects that excites me the most, I think yesterday at the Precision Oncology Alliance Summit, we were able to award 3 or 4 top publications that's generated based on Caris database and stitched with the experts from our POA network. We were able to publish quite a few very impactful clinical studies. And aside from that, one of the research projects that I'm the most excited about actually is what we published this year in Nature Communications, which is to holistically take advantage of our vast database. At the moment of data extraction, it was near 300,000 patient data, but we were focused on understanding the tissue agnostic approvals by FDA in the recent years. So we were able to really interrogate our database to understand the prevalence of these tissue agnostic indications and really investigate how these very exciting approvals in the field were applied in clinical practice. And there were some uncomfortable facts that we were able to discover, which is that only less than a third of patients that could qualify for these tissue agnostic indications were actually being given the treatment. So that was something that was very surprising, but I think it's inspiring for us, really exposing the need for additional dissemination of the knowledge and additional education. Another really important insight from that paper is the power of real-world evidence, because we reviewed additional aspects of the tissue agnostic approvals that weren't supported by clinical trials, however, could be really strengthened by real-world evidence. So I think that aspect of it was only possible with this vast data from real clinical practice.
So inspiring. And to think a third more patients could potentially be impacted in a good way down the road if
Absolutely.
This research finding was then implemented at the care setting, right? That they got that additional testing and were able to get the help that they needed.
Absolutely.
Truly, truly impressive and exciting. So I'd love to now switch over to learning a little bit more about you personally and as a leader. What are things that you do in your day-to-day basis that just help you continue to work your best and make a difference? You're constantly absorbing so much information, working so hard to save cancer. It's not an easy thing to do. So what are things you do to just keep going?
I have been here for a long time, and there have been challenges along the way for sure. What really kept me going and kept me excited every day is the data itself. I think Caris never failed to stay on the very frontier of technology. We have always had the biggest sequencing panel. We've always had the biggest data set in the field. So to be blessed with this kind of data set makes the job always quote unquote easy, because you always have a lot of toys to play with. And also I happen to be in this field at the right moment where there's an explosive amount of not only knowledge, drug targets, but also statistical tools. I think right now, different machine learning algorithms and statistical tools are just empowering us to be able to draw insights at different levels and at incredible pace that's even unimaginable, say, 15 years ago. So I think to really, I know it's an old quote already, but I kept telling myself to stay hungry, stay foolish the whole entire time, and to not be afraid of new things and new knowledge that's out there, but to embrace the challenges, to embrace the new things that's available there, and really to be able to integrate the novel tools that we have out there with our current work. And that's what's making the job exciting and fulfilling.
It's truly inspiring. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I loved learning from you, and I just love to know you. So I'm going to keep watching your work.
Likewise, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I really appreciate the opportunity and everything that you're doing, Grace.
And thanks to you folks for joining us too. Check out the HITea with Grace podcast website for more great guests like Joanne today. Cheers.
Like a Girl Media is more than a media network. It's a community. We want to meet you and amplify your voice and the voices of outstanding women innovating in healthcare. Interested in starting your own podcast or hosting an event near you? Connect with us online or in person. We're here to support and empower you.